Welcome to this video. So in this video, we are going to be learning about the blueprint of the web. In the previous classes, we have understood this technology that enabled the web today as we have it. So let's learn how they are all connected together to enable us the web. Okay, this is like the ultimate blueprint for you to understand how the online world works. By the time you go through this section, you'll be able to understand the Facebook that you access on a daily basis. How is it made available to you? The Google, the YouTube, even this platform where you're watching this course right now. You're going to have a clear clarity on how these platforms online are made available to an end user. Okay, and that is actually my goal, because once you get to understand how the online world works, you begin to feel more comfortable with it. Okay, it's by feeling more comfortable with it that you can start to think more ideas on how you on a personal level can optimize it to your own benefit. And that is why I believe that this class is very essential. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, earlier on, we have established some of this technology that enable the online world. We said the internet. Of course, the internet is the architect. So the global system of interconnected computer is one technology that enables the online world. We are not going to be discussing about that because we have already gone into details to understand about it. But also earlier on, we mentioned about the domain name being created to enable easy access to information. Also, we mentioned in the likes of uniform resource identifier and uniform resource locator. So this technology can be found on the domain name. So also we talked about the hypertext markup language, which can also be identified on the web server aspect of the web. Then also we'll have the HTTP hypertext transfer protocol, which is also identified on the web browser. So these are the major technologies that are put together to enable the web as we have it today. So having understood the internet, so let's go deep to understand more about the domain name, the web server, and the web browser, how they all works, and how all these things are linked together to enable us the online world. Okay, so let's start with the domain name URL, the uniform resource identifier. Okay, so what is a domain name? The domain name is simply a unique identifier of an entity on the web. Okay, so like the way we have Facebook, this is their unique identifier on the web. Google is their unique identifier. So if you're watching this on my learning management system, this is my unique identifier. So the best way to understand domain name is just to see it like a street address. Okay, so in a real life scenario with an address, let's say there is a friend who is thinking of coming to visit you, and he has not been to your place before. So you can easily send the person an address, and the person, regardless of where he's coming from, can locate your street. He can also locate your compound, come into your house, view all the stuff, all the ins and out of your house, know how it all looks like. That is also the same way the domain name work in the terms of the online space. So if people are going to be accessing your business or accessing your platform on the online world, they need a name that they can use to identify you there. That is what the domain name represents. Okay, so they can use this domain name, come online, find your business, and they can locate your business, come inside your business, and access anything that they can access, like mostly anything that you have made available for them to access. So this is actually how the domain name work when it comes to the online world. Now there are other things you need to understand. How is domain name made available? So domain name is made available through the domain name server. So domain name server is simply where every domain name are registered. Okay, so this is like they are like the phone book on the internet. This is where anyone is given a unique identity on the web. So if you are thinking of building a web platform today now, what you are going to be doing is to go over and think of a name that you want to be used to be identified on the web. So once you get this name, you can go to a domain name registrar. Now this is where people kind of get will I say turn off when it comes to building web platform and all that. They think that they have to do all this technical stuff. No, we have advanced more than that. In today's world, right now, as you are listening to me, if you decide to build your web platform, none of the technical aspect that you need to engage in. There are already business who are responsible for doing all this. All you need to do is just to understand this concept, understand how it works, and then know what to do. And that is simply it. At the end of the day, it's just by clicking and dragging, you can build a platform that you want today. But what you should understand is that once you think of building your own platform, you need a domain name. So you can think of a name that you want to use. There are processes to do that, because you can think of a name now and you want to go and register it, and someone has already taken that name. So there are processes you have to think about name, align it to your brand and all that. So once you do that, you can check. There's a way to check if the domain name is available. So once you have your unique name, all you need to do is to go to a domain name registrar and register this name. Once you register that name, it will be assigned to you. It always comes in a yearly fee. It will be assigned uniquely to you. No one can have that name again, and it's going to be personally for you. So you can use that name now to link to your web document online. That is like to link to your house on the online space. So whenever people are searching for that name, they can now come into your online space, like your house on the online web. They can now use it to locate your house on the online web and access all the files and everything, information you have to offer to them. So this is actually how the uniform resource identifier is made available to an end user. So in summary, here is what I want you to understand about domain name. First is that they are unique address of a website on the internet. That means no one can have one domain name. Like for example, now this digitaltopnotch.com, no one can have this name again unless I relieve my my access to it. No one can have this particular domain name because it's going to conflict. It's always unique. Someone can have another extension with info, net and all that, but they cannot have the .com version of this name because it's totally claimed by me. So it's a unique identifier of a website on the web. So another thing you need to know is that domain name are represented with serial number known as IP address. Okay, so domain name are treated as a computer. Okay, the IP address is what is used to identify communication on the internet. So that is also how domain name is. It has to communicate in the internet aspect. So it's always assigned a unique IP address. Now, when you are reading this, you are reading Digital Top Notch Academy. But in terms of computer communication, they are reading a serial number in this form. That is actually how domain name is structured. So this is actually a technology. This idea was created to enable easy access to the internet. Imagine that you have to access my platform and you have to remember this serial number. Accessing internet is going to be very boring, right? When you have to access internet with a serial number like this. So this technology was built to enable this communication. So when you register in a domain name server, they assign this unique identity to you, and it's going to be unique to just your name. So another thing you need to understand that domain name are made up of extensions like .com, .biz, and .org and all that. So the most popular one here is .com, .commercial, .info, .networking, .business, .tv, .euro, .organization. So it depending on the kind of domain you want to build your business on. But this is basically what you need to understand about domain name. Okay. Now with this said, let's look at web server. Now the web server deals with the programming language of the web. That is like where there's about the file and document communication, how they can be made easy accessible to an end user. That is actually what the server aspect deals. So let's learn what a web server is all about. So the web server is simply a computer on the internet where public documents are stored to enable public access. So what happens is that when a web builder, when a web developer wants to build a website that it wants the public to access, what it does is that it's going to go over and build the web platform. Okay, if you build the web platform, today there are different programming languages that are used, but the initial technology that was used to build web platform was the hypertext markup language, which we talked about earlier. But that was actually the basic programming language that was able to use to organize web documents for easy access on the internet. So when you use this language, you can build a web platform that can be uploaded on the web server. Now what you need to understand is that today is not just the hypertext markup language that is used to build web platform. There are other programming language like JavaScript and other language that are being used to build web platform today. The another thing you need to understand is that when it also comes to the web server, there is also other softwares and other programming that needs to be run on the web server itself to enable it to be easily communicate the document to an end user when it's asking for it, when someone is asking for that file in the internet access. So these are complicated aspects that even today, if you are trying to build a web platform, you don't need to worry about this because there are companies who are already taking care of all these tasks. That is why building web platform today is very easy. basically what you need to do is just to understand this concept I'm trying to explain to you, understand how they work and how they are made available, and you can go through and just build your web platform. In building web platform today, you don't need to code. I built this platform. If you're watching on Digital Top Notch Academy now, I built this platform. You are here now without even touching a single line of code, by using tools like content management system. These are tools that will allow you to build web platform with a click and drag functions. Okay, so these tools are already built with the right programming language to build web platform. So all you need to do is just to use the click and drag option and just build your platform. And once you do that, the platform can be uploaded on the web server. Then you link your domain name. Okay, so when you register a domain name, your domain name registrar is going to give you your domain name server address. Okay, now so this is actually how the connection works. So your domain name registrar is going to give you a server address. So you are going to connect it to your web server, which is where your web document is stored. So whenever people are searching for your domain name, your domain name registrar is going to direct them that if you are looking for information in this particular domain name, go and check it on this web server based on the setup you have done. And once that person comes into that web server, they will be able to access your document and be able to access every information you made available for public access. So this is actually what happens with the domain name and also the web server. So these are the communication that goes in. So I want you to understand this concept, because that is just what you need to understand. If you understand this, you can go straight ahead and start using these available tools to build your own web platform. And also, more importantly, you understand how the online ecosystem, everything works. So when you understand all this, you start to relate, and when ideas and some concepts are discussed, you'll be able to understand what is being talked about. Okay, so that is about the web server. So another technology here is the web browser. So the web browser is the one that deals with the hypertext transfer protocol. This is actually the groundbreaking technology that enables the web as we have it today. So we're not even thinking about domain name. All those things wasn't even in place before until the web browser was discovered, a way for a client, a phone, a device can connect to the internet, access a web server that we talked about earlier. Okay, the device can connect to that web server, access the document inside that web server, and retrieve it back. So until this technology was found, that was when we start talking about, or even the web server, the domain name registrar and all that. So all these things are domain name server, web server are just technology that came up after the web browser was discovered. And what is a web browser? It's simply application software that enable an end user to access web documents stored on web server, that is on the internet. Okay, so this is actually what software that do. They are built with this hypertext transfer protocol technology to be able to access a web server on the internet, retrieve the file inside it. Okay, so the major characteristics of web browser is that they have the ability to communicate with computer on the internet. That is the major characteristics of web browser. Okay, so there are also other web browser you can think of there. So we have like Google Chrome. These are different types of web browser. So all these web browser has this hypertext transfer protocol technology built inside of them. So that is actually the characteristics of a web browser. So you have Google Chrome is the top there, owned by Google. So Google dominates both the search engine, both the in terms of tools and all that. They have countless and hundreds and tens of tools for individuals and business. So they also own Google Chrome, is occupying over 63% of web access are done through Google Chrome. Internet Explorer is also owned by Microsoft Edge. They also Internet Explorer is owned by Microsoft. They also own Microsoft Edge. They also have like Apple Safari that's always found on Mac. The Internet Explorer is found on Windows operating system. Then also you have independent browser like Mozilla Firefox and all that. So these are the web browser that enables an end user to access the internet. Okay, so how does all these things work when put into place? So first of all, to access the internet, this is what you need to understand. You need an internet. Okay, the internet is a global system of interconnected computers. It serves for you as an end user who is going to be accessing the internet. It's also what empowers your web document to be accessed. It's also what empowers that someone can be able to access your web document on the line through the technology of domain name. Okay, so you need internet, and also you need a domain name server. This is actually where your domain name is registered and assigned a unique identity. So also a website is also in play. So a website is like the document that enable the file that people can access. In a case like this, it has evolved to something more complex, like the social media platform, like an e-learning platform like what you're watching now. You can also see platform like web, blog, company websites and all that. So this is actually all about website. There are different types of website, and website are also part of the component that enable the web. So also you need the web server. The website is now that computer where this website is going to be stored and enabled for public access. Okay, and also you need a client. A client is a device that can be used to access the internet. Okay, and that client has to be connected to the internet, and also the client has to have a browser inside it. So in a nutshell here, if this computer is a client, it must have a browser. So if I want to access the internet, this is what happens. If I go to my browser now and impute a name, a domain name that is already functioning, let's say a web developer have created a website, has registered a domain name, has linked its domain name to his website. If I come to my web browser and type that domain name, it's going to go to the internet with the help of that name, and with the help of the hypertext transfer protocol on the web browser. It's going to communicate to that name, say, okay, where is the server, where is the computer where this name is registered? With the help of that unique IP address that is assigned to that unique name, it's going to direct it to the domain name server. And once it comes to that domain name server, the domain name server will say, okay, if you are looking for any information in regards to this name, go and look for it on the web server, which is where the website is stored, and the user or the web developer must have connected the domain name server to the web server where the document is stored. And this hypertext transfer protocol is also going to go on that internet, go to the web server, retrieve that information, and bring it to the end user on the web browser. So this is the total thing that happens when it comes to accessing online platforms and all that. And this is actually the basic understanding you need to understand and to start looking at the online world in more clearer way. Okay, this basic understanding what you need to, even right now, if you want to build a web platform, this is enough for you, because all you need to do now is just to know the ways to go about registering your domain name, getting a hosting service, learning how to use content management system to develop your platform, and that is basically it. That is what you need to build web platform today, and that is also what you need to really understand how the online world works today. Okay, I hope this was clear enough and you got a lot of insight about how the online world works. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video.